Hey, this is Tuhon Aditya from LightHaven. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a single stick drill which is designed to help you become more familiar with the range and the extension of range that you get when you're using a weapon. Now, just something to keep in mind that this drill will differ depending on the length of the weapon. The reason why we do this drill is because a lot of times when people are doing especially single stick or slightly longer weapons, they tend to reduce their own range by keeping the elbow in, and they start to believe that this is actually their range, whereas actually their range is much longer. This drill was actually taught to me on my first trip in the Philippines. It was taught me by Tuhon Aditya from Germany, and since then it's a drill that has really helped me a lot, really helped me to figure out my range with the stick, and it's especially come in handy in stick fighting and stick sparring. So I'm going to be showing you this drill in two different ways. The first one is just with static footwork. The next one is with ranging footwork. Open triangle footwork. Both have really tiny, small little variations, but it helps to do them in linear progression. So first get comfortable with one, then go to the next one. You can do this also with double stick. You can do this with knife. You can do this anything. The same principles will remain. Just you're going to have to compensate for the change of length. Before we begin, that would mean a lot if you would subscribe to the channel. At the end of the video, if you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. If you have anything to add to the discussion, leave that in the comments down below. If you have any requests for future videos or questions, please also leave that in the comments down below. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. Our residential program is up and running, so if you want to come down to Goa, live with us, train with us, be a part of this residential program of ours, check out the link I'm going to leave down below. Also, we have our online classes up and running, so if you want to come train with us online, from wherever you are in the world, please get in touch with us again through the link I'm going to leave down below. You're going to need to start with having some sort of a fixed reference point. So I'm going to be using this tree. If you don't have a tree, you can use a pillar, you can use a bag. If you don't have any of these things, you can use a bottle or something on the ground. But if you can, it's much better if you have a reference point that is at least as tall as your target is. Otherwise, you can still get away with sort of inaccuracies. So what you essentially want to do is, you want to start by picking a stance, right? So in the beginning, we're just going to start with our bladed sort of stance. And once I'm in my bladed stance, then I want to be extending towards my target. Now, one mistake that a lot of people make is that they start to measure range with their feet together like this. Don't do this. First get into your stance and then measure range. Now, what you want to do is, you want to go back far enough where I can just about touch the tree, right? So I'm having to lean like this to touch the tree. This may seem like this is the edge of my range, but actually I can go back quite a bit further, and this is more like the extent of my range. I'm going to be doing all my strikes from this range. I'm going to be doing angle 1, 2, 3 and 4 from this range. I want to just be able to touch the tree with the tip of my weapon. I'm not trying to go to that 2/3. I'm going to the absolute extent of my range from where I can just about touch. So from here, this means that your hip needs to be fully turned and your shoulder needs to be fully extended. And you want a slight little bit of lean, right? Again, we're looking for the extent, absolute extent of our range. This may not be the range that you fight in, but you want to know what is the extent, how far away do you need to be able to at least touch people. This gives you a really good reference point to then start understanding what is your effective range. This is not your effective range, this is the edge of your range. So I'm going to be here again, and all I'm going to be looking to do is touch with angle 1, touch with angle 2, touch with 3, touch with 4. Now some people will say that your angle 3 and angle 4 have less of a range than your 1 and 2. That's not actually true, because you're using the same diagonal lines with your 3 and your 4. So all four strikes should have approximately the same amount of range. So if I can reach here with my angle 1 and 2, I should also be able to reach here with my 3 and my 4, right? In the beginning, you're going to be missing. You might hit that 1 and then you might miss that 2. That's because you're not used to extending like this. Either you're used to keeping the elbow tucked in, or you're not used to moving the hip as much. or you're not used to extending the shoulder to its absolute maximum. So it's perfectly fine to miss. But if you can hit even one of these strikes, it means you can hit all of these strikes, right? Doesn't matter if you're missing. If you hit one of these strikes, it means technically you should be able to hit all of these strikes. If you're not hitting any one of the angles, then there's something wrong either in their technique, or there's just some more practice that is required. So I'm going to start from my shoulder load. I'm going to try and load after every strike. I'm going to extend and lean 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One thing I do not want to do, and I want to be very careful about this, is as I'm leaning, I don't want to lift that back foot up. I want to keep both my feet firmly on the ground. The reason for that is that even though yes, I am leaning a little bit, I don't want to make that so much that I have now lifted that foot and now I have committed all my weight onto my front leg. Even though I'm leaning, I'm still somewhere 60-40, right? If I lift this back foot up, then my weight is going to go even more on my front leg. I don't want that. I want both my feet on the ground, and I want to be able to reach. I don't want to take help. Also, when I lift that heel up, it's going to help me to reach a little bit more. I don't want that. I want to learn the extent of my reach using my hip and my shoulders, not taking the help of that heel raise or that lunge. The next part of the drill is I'm going to use my open triangle footwork, and again do the same angle 1, 2, 3, 4. We're only going to do our open triangle footwork because as soon as we start doing our closed triangle footwork or the rest of the ranging footwork, then you're not going to be in range anymore. You're not going to be able to touch that anymore. So only going to do open triangle footwork. However, again, do not measure range with your feet together. Step into your open triangle footwork, then measure range. So see, from here I can still go a wee bit back, and now I can reach, maybe even a little bit further back. This is where I should measure my range. Because if I measure from here, as you can see, there's no way I can reach. But as soon as I step 45 degrees, I can reach. Same on the other side, as soon as I step 45 degrees, I can reach. So that's how you want to be measuring your distance in the open triangle footwork. So same thing I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be stepping, not lifting this back heel up. Stepping, 1, 2, 3, 4, come back, step the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Again, if you miss, it's just either your foot has gone too far out, it's not 45 degrees. If you hit exact 45 degree angles or around about 45 degrees, you're going to be making contact. If you are slightly off that 45 degree angle, let's say I step here again, then one of two things can happen. Either you cannot reach it at all, or you're going to be hitting lower than where your target is. That's where my target is, and maybe I'm going to be hitting here, right? So if you step correctly, if I step 45 degrees correctly, then I should be able to hit my target in front of, in line with my head, right? The clavicle. I should still be able to reach there. If I step more, I'm not going to be able to reach. Maybe it's going to be, I really have to like lean and make a sort of a back structure in my stance. I'm going to have a break structure to be able to reach like this, or I can reach lower down, and I don't want that. I want to teach myself how to hit the targets that I want to hit. So this is where that 45 degree angle and that, what is the word, the precision in the 45 degree angle is important, because if I'm stepping 45, then I can strike in front of my head at the correct angle. My first two strikes are going to be to the clavicle or in front of the head, in line with my head. 3 and 4 are going to be to the hip, so in line with my hip. Come back, I'm going to step the other way 45 degrees, and again the same I'm going to do the same thing. These seem like pretty straightforward, easy drills, but this might be one of the most important videos that I put up on YouTube, simply because this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see across the board, regardless of where you're training or how long you've trained for. Everyone has some sort of range problem where they keep selling themselves short. So if that's the extent of my range, most people train with that being the extent of the range, or that being the extent of the range. One last thing to keep in mind though is, if this is the extent of my range, this is not my effective range. If I hit someone here, one of two things may happen. Either I only clip them with the top edge, or I don't get enough power into it, right? My effective range is a little bit closer when I'm looking to hit from the top 2/3 of the weapon. That's my effective range. However, it really helps me to know how far I can actually reach and how far I can actually hit someone from, because then that becomes my sort of measurement, and then from there I can work backwards to calculate how far do I really need to be able to hit the top 2/3. So once you have this correct, then you do the reverse engineer the whole process again, and this time I'm not touching the top of the of the reference point of the tree. I'm going to be touching the side, right? Somewhere from here. This is where I'm going to be looking to touch from. This is the extent with the lean, right? I don't want to, if I touch the face that is facing me, I can go further back, but now I want to be hitting from the that top 2/3. So I want to be measuring my distance according to that top 2/3 from the side with a little bit of lean. So as I strike 3, 4, right? But first get the extent of your range and then work backwards, and again go back to your ranging for your open triangle footwork with this formula of touching with the top 2/3. So now then you will have the extent of your range, and then you'll also have your effective long range. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you have anything to add to the discussion, leave that in the comments down below. If you have any questions or requests for future videos, please also leave that in the comments down below. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. Like I said earlier, both our residential program and our online classes are up and running. So if you want to get in touch to enroll for either of them, please check out the links I'm going to leave down below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.